Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi. I'm Jenna Davison, and today on the show we're going to be talking to head football coach Shane Richardson, and on the second half of the show we're going to be talking men's soccer with head coach Phil Heinsohn. But first, we're joined by Coach Richardson. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Well, UNCP dropped a tough 38-7 contest at Winston-Salem State on Saturday in your debut as head coach. Now that you've had a couple days to think about it, what are your takeaways from Saturday's game, and what are some of the things that you will spend time in practice doing to correct some of that stuff?
Sure. We took away that we obviously now know where we're at. Sometimes you get a little bit of a false identity going through camp because you're not sure really the things that you need to work on when it comes to a live situation. So now it's a good thing that we know what we really need to do and where we need to go from here. And so offensively speaking, there's some fundamental things that we really need to stress and emphasize that we've got to do to not beat ourselves and to put ourselves in position so that we can just give ourselves a chance to play football. And then defensively, I think it's a lot of the same thing. I think we had a little bit of anxiety in the first game, and we didn't play quite settled in as we could have and should have. And so this week we'll kind of go back to some basic fundamental things of just settling things down, and they've got one game underneath their belt now, and so I think it'll be a lot better week for us.
Well, offensively, the Braves finished with just 146 yards, including 99 passing yards from redshirt freshman Seth Owen at quarterback. Talk about the performance you got from your offense, and particularly Seth Owen.
Yeah, offensively, I think we struggled a little bit at times, but I think there was a lot of really good things that also took place that we can build off from. Seth had a really good performance considering that was his first snaps of college football ever. And so there were a lot of things that we looked at with him that were very encouraging. He went out there and really just played with a lot of guts and confidence and really kind of overcame things just from his intangible side of a player. And, some of the mechanical and physical things we've still got to correct and make sure that we're getting him on track. But just from a standpoint of running the offense and him going out there not playing scared and being confident and managing what we were doing out there, he was really spot on with that.
Well, just 5 of your 15 drives on the night went for 5 or more plays. What were some of the things that stuck out to you as reasons why the offense was unable to sustain those drives?
Sure. I think in the sense of, our offense is fairly new in the sense of the system, and so I think that's part of it. And then you couple that with going out into a first big game along with a lot of youth and experience on offense. And so once adversity strikes, you've got to be able to rely on, repetition and guys that have confidence in doing those things. And we just haven't had time to really do that quite yet. But we're trying to expedite that process, and hopefully Saturday gave us a great motivator to know that we've got to do it in a short amount of time.
Well, you had some guys missing from the offensive lineup on Saturday, notably Rontonio Stanley at the running back, at the running back spot, and George Wingham at the receiving position. What is the status on their progression as the Braves move forward this Saturday?
Yep, they are expected to be back in the mix this week, and so we're excited to get them back. And obviously those two guys are threats as far as having the ball in their hands, and so could have definitely used a couple more guys like that to be out there, but we anticipate that they'll be fully ready to go this week versus Fayetteville State.
Well, after a big first half by Winston-Salem State, you went into halftime down 31-7. What did you tell your team at halftime? Because it looked like you made some good adjustments, particularly on defense, going into the third quarter, because Winston-Salem State gained just 130 yards in the second half.
First thing we told them was to not look at the scoreboard and not to worry about what the score was or what had happened, and to really just understand that sometimes you got to ride the highs and the lows. And we wanted to go out in the second half to just make sure that we were just playing as hard as we could, sticking to the game plan and staying the course as to who we were. And I think the guys really bought into that, because our second half I was much more pleased with as far as just the production and the fundamentals that were executed. I think at halftime you really try to find something that will be an adjustment, but the only adjustment that needed to be made was I think we needed to just settle down and make sure that we had confidence that it was still 11 on 11 out there, and it was still a game of football of blocking and tackling and running around. And so we just tried to keep them confident and keep it simple for them to be able to focus on.
All right. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking to head football coach Shane Richardson, so stay tuned.